Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game.
Draymond Green opens up about Warriors' halftime talk on Anthony Edwards after Game 4 showdown. Anthony Edwards didn't just make his presence felt in Game 4, he completely stole the spotlight. The Minnesota Timberwolves star lit up the Golden State Warriors with a phenomenal performance that had his opponents doing something rare, openly talking about him at halftime. He was hitting tough shots, no doubt, Draymond Green said post-game, reflecting on the locker room conversation. But we were asking ourselves, what could we have done differently? Could we have kept him off the line? Stopped the momentum? Edwards' impact was undeniable. According to SofaScore, he dropped 30 points, grabbed 4 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists on 11 of 21 shooting. But what really stunned the Warriors was his precision from deep. Ant knocked down 6 of his 11 three-point attempts. He also picked up 2 steals, constantly applying pressure on both ends of the court. At halftime, the mood in the Warriors' locker room was clear. Edwards had become the central topic of discussion. Every time we started to make a run, it was Ant who shut it down, Green admitted. And look, someone's always going to hit a big shot here and there. But it can't be their best player every time. When you're in that stretch, your defense has to lock in, especially on him. Despite the Warriors coming in with a game plan to limit Edwards, it simply wasn't enough. The rising superstar has shown tremendous growth in his long-range shooting this season, and it's been on full display during this playoff run. His improved volume and efficiency from beyond the arc have made him a nightmare to guard, something even a defensive veteran like Green acknowledged. It's not just one guy's responsibility, Green said. Stopping a player like that, it takes all 5 guys locked in. It's a team effort. And the truth is, when we get a run going, we've got to commit even harder on defense. That's where we've got to be better. Green continued, emphasizing how Edwards' growth as a shooter has elevated him to a different tier. He's special. You can see the work he's put in to expand his range, and when you combine that with his explosiveness, his rhythm, his confidence, it makes him really tough to stop. If the Warriors want to claw their way back from a 3-1 series deficit, slowing down Edwards has to be priority number 1. Interestingly, the only game Golden State managed to win in the series so far was the one where Edwards shot just 20% from 3. Now, heading into a do-or-die Game 5, the formula is clear. Limit Ant's impact from deep, tighten up defensively when it matters most, and don't let the Wolves' best player dictate the game. Because if Edwards continues to play like this, Golden State might be watching the rest of the playoffs from home. Edwards' Game 4 brilliance didn't just force the Warriors into reflection, it sent shockwaves across the NBA. Coaches, analysts, and even rival players took notice. On ESPN's NBA Today, Kendrick Perkins didn't hold back. That boy Ant is box office, he said. He's doing to the Warriors what Steph used to do to everybody else, rip their hearts out. On social media, stars like Donovan Mitchell and Ja Morant chimed in with fire emojis and reactions that mirrored what fans were thinking. Anthony Edwards has arrived, not just as a future star, but as a present-day problem. What's most alarming for Golden State is how consistently Edwards has been able to deliver under pressure. This wasn't a one-off explosion. This was Edwards putting together back-to-back 30-point performances in a high-stakes series, and doing it with poise, range, and control. The Warriors' defensive identity, once defined by discipline and rotations, looked increasingly shaky as Ant dissected every coverage thrown at him. Whether it was drop coverage, switches, or traps, he found a way to break through. And with Julius Randle continuing to dominate mismatches and McDaniels controlling the glass, the Wolves have become more than just Edwards and hope. They're playing like a team built to win now. For Golden State, the concern runs deeper than just losing a game. It's about losing their edge. The locker room felt heavy after Game 4. No shouting. No fire. Just the quiet acknowledgement that something fundamental is off. Steph Curry's absence hurts, no doubt. But the larger issue is how reliant the Warriors have become on him to cover all flaws, offensively, emotionally, and even culturally. This team has always had its identity through Steph, one anonymous Western Conference scout noted. When he's not on the floor, it's like watching a band without its lead singer. The rest of the pieces are still good, but it's just not the same show. Meanwhile, Jonathan Kuminga continues to be one of the few bright spots. His emergence in Games 3 and 4 was a reminder of what the future could look like: dynamic, athletic, aggressive. But the reality is harsh. Without consistent help from the veterans, Kuminga's efforts are being wasted. With Game 5 looming back in Minnesota, where the Timberwolves are undefeated at home this postseason, the Warriors are staring down the barrel of elimination. Steve Kerr is expected to make rotation adjustments, but options are limited. Buddy Hield has failed to find rhythm. Gary Payton too has been tentative. And no one outside of Kuminga has brought the kind of spark needed to swing momentum. Steph Curry will be re-evaluated just hours before tip-off, but internal sources suggest the best-case scenario is a minutes-restricted appearance. Even if he plays, he's not going to be Steph, a team insider admitted. And that's the dilemma. This Warriors team, once known for its joy, rhythm and relentless execution, now looks hesitant, reactive instead of proactive. And against a young, fearless team like the Timberwolves, that hesitation is deadly. Back in Minnesota, fans are already preparing for what could be a franchise-defining moment: the chance to eliminate the Warriors and advance to the Western Conference Finals. For a franchise that has long lived in the shadows of the West's elite, it's a potential torch-passing moment. As for the Warriors, they're fighting for survival, and maybe for the last time as we know them. Because if this is indeed the end of an era, it won't be remembered for how it ended quietly. It'll be remembered for how a 22-year-old named Anthony Edwards lit the fire that burned it down. Jimmy Butler 3 disappears as Warriors fall 117-110 to Edwards, Timberwolves. It felt like a must-win Game 4 for the Golden State Warriors, and yet, they played like a team without its spark. Missing Steph Curry once again, the Dubs dropped their third straight game in a crushing 117-110 home loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now down 3-1 in the series, it's win or go home in Game 5, and the road leads back to Minnesota. Draymond Green came out with purpose after a lackluster Game 3, attacking the boards, pushing the pace, and trying to take pressure off Jimmy Butler 3, who faded late in the last game. Alongside him, Jonathan Kuminga gave Golden State a real shot at redemption. The 2021 lottery pick continued his breakout postseason run, scoring 16 first-half points and playing with impressive control and patience on both ends. By halftime, the Warriors held a slim 60-58 lead, even with Butler on the bench for a critical 6-minute stretch. But then, the tide turned. Minnesota's stars, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, weren't about to let the Warriors back in without a fight. Randle punished Golden State's small ball lineups, muscling his way inside and drilling 2 open threes off defensive breakdowns. He put up 19 in the first half alone. The Warriors needed Butler to answer. But playoff Jimmy? He never showed. After a dominant 33-point Game 3, Butler was almost invisible in Game 4. Meanwhile, Edwards smelled blood in the water. He erupted for 14 points in the fourth quarter, leading a 17-0 Wolves run that put the game out of reach. Even when Edwards picked up his fourth foul late in the third, Golden State failed to capitalize. The offense sputtered, and the deficit ballooned to 15+. There was no second gear. For the second game in a row at Chase Center, a different veteran let the Warriors down. Game 3? Draymond disappeared. Game 4? Butler looked disinterested, or maybe just drained. Green bounced back with 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists, but Butler's quiet 14 points on just 9 shots, along with a painful -30+, told the real story. He didn't have it. And yet, Kuminga did. Again. The 21-year-old logged 23 points in 30 minutes, hitting 11 of 12 from the free throw line and continuing to be Golden State's most consistent force in Curry's absence. If you'd told the Warriors they'd get this version of Kuminga in Games 3 and 4, they'd have bet on at least one win. But it wasn't enough. As the clock wound down, more than 4 minutes remaining and down 20+, Kerr waved the white flag. The bench unit made a mini 7-0 push, just enough to make the final score look respectable, but the outcome was never in question. Edwards finished with 30 points, 6 of 11 from deep, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals in just 33 minutes. Randle added 31. McDaniels posted a 10-point, 13-rebound double-double. And the Wolves shot nearly 50% from 3 as a team, while the Warriors hit just 8 of 27, 29.6%. If the Warriors are clinging to any hope in Game 5, it lies in the law of averages. maybe the Timberwolves finally cool off from deep. But let's be honest, without Curry, Golden State looks lost. Green and Butler have been inconsistent, Buddy Hield has been a non-factor, and aside from Kuminga, the rest of the young core seems hesitant to even shoot. Kerr's admitted to experimenting with lineups. And this team, for all its talk of honoring Curry's legacy, has looked more like it's waiting for him to save them than stepping up in his absence. Minnesota has all the momentum heading back home. The Warriors? They have questions. Whether it's age, injuries, or focus, this just doesn't feel like a team ready to fight for another ring. And unless something dramatic changes, Wednesday might be the last time we see them together this season. The fallout from Game 4 wasn't just felt on the court, it echoed through the Warriors' locker room, the media, and the fan base. After the final buzzer, Draymond Green spoke candidly, his voice laced with frustration. "We didn't match their urgency," he admitted. "We knew what was at stake, but we just didn't bring it when it mattered." Green, who had bounced back with a stronger performance, seemed especially disheartened by the lack of collective response. You can't expect one or two guys to carry this thing. Everyone's gotta want it. Jimmy Butler, meanwhile, offered little. His post-game interview was brief, subdued. "Didn't play well. That's on me," he said, avoiding eye contact, and disappearing behind the locker room curtain. For someone known for his fiery playoff intensity, it was a stark contrast, and a troubling sign for a team that desperately needs leadership. Around the league, the conversation shifted. Pundits questioned whether the dynasty has finally run its course. ESPN's J.J. Redick said on air, "This isn't just about missing Steph. It's about the lack of identity when he's not there. You can't tell me this team believes in itself right now." TNT's Charles Barkley was more blunt. "This ain't the same Warriors team. They're tired. They're older. And they don't scare anyone anymore." The Wolves, on the other hand, are being taken seriously. Anthony Edwards has elevated his profile this postseason, and after Game 4, teammates and coaches alike couldn't stop praising his maturity and killer instinct. "He wants the moment," said head coach Chris Finch. "He's fearless. That's what separates stars from superstars." Julius Randle, who has had his share of playoff scrutiny in New York, looked reborn in Minnesota. "We're locked in. Every guy knows their role, and we trust each other," Randle said after the win. And Ant? He's the real deal. Off the court, the Warriors' internal pressure is building. With free agency looming and a looming salary cap crunch, questions swirl around the future of the core. Will the front office move on from aging vets like Green or Butler this summer? Is Kuminga ready to be a cornerstone, or just a bright spot in a dark chapter? Even Steve Kerr's coaching decisions have drawn criticism. His admission of throwing away Game 2 by testing new lineups has not sat well with fans, especially with the series now hanging by a thread. "You can't afford to experiment in the playoffs," one Warriors insider said. "Not when you're down your best player." And speaking of Curry, his status remains uncertain. The team announced he will be re-evaluated ahead of Game 5, but sources close to the situation say he's unlikely to return at full strength, even if cleared. "It's a long shot," one team doctor reportedly told The Athletic. "Even if he plays, it might just be symbolic." Symbolic or not, the Warriors need something, anything, to ignite them in Game 5. The Timberwolves now smell blood. They're younger, deeper, and playing with a collective chip on their shoulder. And unless Golden State finds a way to rediscover its championship DNA, fast, this series could be the end of an era. The dynasty isn't dead just yet. But it's on life support.